Yes, we do.
I was gonna say, 'cause some people, if you drag them to, put dragons off and put it back up, you can't see.
No, it must have been just oversight on our end, but we will get it in place for the way tomorrow morning.
Appreciate it. Like you do
Oh, there
that,
we go.
we can place
Okay.
it. Okay, we can just talk about getting one if you want that.
We usually have one in stock, we keep one, it's locked up with the girls on the city hall side. So right away tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, it's opened out, and the firemen will get it from them, and we'll get it. We have to talk with Park and Rec, John Boston, he usually helps us making sure we have the flags standing through that we have it.
The Legion gets them. So even if you buy them, you could still get it through us at the cost and no transportation. There's a couple problems.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do is get the word out that the Legion handles flags. So if anybody can come to the Legion, get an American flag of this side, that's what they have, MIA, what have you. So,
I will talk with him throughout the holidays. I know there's a few here in stock, but maybe starting next year, we'll see what we can do to come and we'll get them through the Legion.
Sure, just give us a holler, because we got them on hand. And you don't have to keep them on hand if necessary.
Okay.
Good.
Well, it always works out too, because if we have at least one on hand, if something happens on the
Oh,
weekend, we can hurry up and get it replaced. We'll see what we can do, but I guarantee you tomorrow morning, we'll have it changed out.
Can't ask for more than that.
Thank you very much.
Kathy, I will be replaced at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. They have one to replace.
And I have an extra one if anybody needs it.
Yeah.
Well, good evening, everyone. Notice of meeting for Tuesday, December 20th, 2022, Council Chambers, 1210 Main Street, O'Connell, Wisconsin. This is an open meeting, and notice has been given to the public at least 24 hours prior to the meeting by forwarding the complete agenda through the O'Connell County Recorder. Copies of the complete agenda were available for inspection at the office of the city administrator. 6 p.m. meeting of the regular council in the council chambers with the following agenda. Meeting call to order, roll call.
Mayor Panetti.
Here.
Butch Melver.
Here.
Steve Stock.
Here.
John Woodcock. Chelsea Bates. Gene Feld. Bob LeBrecht.
Here.
Attorney Calvert.
Item 3, invocation of Pledge of Allegiance by Alderman John Woodcock.
Give us the wisdom to make the best decision for the citizens of our county. Keep our military safe and thank you for their service. And with the holidays coming, let's have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4, approval of the agenda. Motion by Steve Scott, second by John Woodcock. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Item number 5, approval of minutes as presented from city council and any special council meetings. Steve?
Before we approve these minutes, I do have a question on that tourism committee.
minutes, maybe Gene can help me out with this. Item K, I don't know if this is something we discuss right now or what we have to do. It says next year closing Main Street for trick or treating on Main. Is that pertaining to just Main Street? And the neighborhoods would still be open for the kids to trick or treat?
I think it's something that we're supposed to keep this safe because they're driving back and forth across the street and it's going to be dangerous. It was just something we brought up.
So we're not making a motion to approve that then, right?
It's still
Okay,
no.
Okay. okay, that's, okay. That's all.
Need a motion. Any other questions, comments? Motion to approve the minutes. Butch? John, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Correspondence, 6A, Oconto County Tourism Zone. Jamie Celine. This is on the room tax. Should be the packet here.
So good evening. I put together a presentation just to kind of keep me on track so I don't wander all over the place. I tend to do that. So my name is James Fleen. I'm the Executive Director of the Oconto County Economic Development Corporation. And if I walk over here, I can advance the slides. OCEDC is a independent 501c3 nonprofit. A lot of times people think we're a department of the county. We're not. We're separate from them. We're a vendor of theirs. We're the only economic development corporation or destination marketing organization in all 997 square miles of Oconto County, pretty big county. So there's a 2.25 of us. Sam Boucher and Nancy Brody are my counterparts there. Our purpose is to bring investment into Oconto County, whether that's through expanding the existing businesses, bringing new businesses here, or helping out with grants, helping our municipalities or help our private businesses fund those things through state and federal grants, sometimes local grants. Our top initiatives are tourism promotion and development, which Sam primarily handles, broadband expansion. Last year and a half, we brought in over $4 million in grants to expand fiber to premises in Oconto County. Childcare, hopefully in the next couple of months, I'll have something to tell you more about, but we're working on that. And then a housing study, which when that's done, I hope you invite me back so that we can talk about the needs for housing in this area. So we're gonna get all the data that we need to present to developers so that we can plan for the future and entice those developers to build the proper housing that we need, whether it's multifamily, single family, senior housing, and so forth. So that's kind of what the gist of what we're working on at a high level. Tourism economic impact to the county is pretty significant. Each year, well, in 2021, about $89 million in direct visitor spending was spent in Oconto County. That's up 17.4% from the previous year. If we look at our neighboring counties, we lag our neighboring counties slightly. Marinette County is at 18%. Brown and Menominee County, we can't compare to that. We can't compare to Lambeau Field or the casino that's in Menominee County. But the rest of those counties, we should be very competitive with. What the rest of the counties do is they properly fund their tourism promotion. Marinette County, just the county puts about $500,000, and the city has another $500,000. So we're competing pretty well considering that we have $150,000 countywide for OCEDC. Now, some municipalities fund it separately, but combined, all those dollars that are spent on promoting tourism in the county is still probably less than $200,000. So I'm here to talk about a tourism zone, and that is defined in state statute as an area made up of 2 or more municipalities that those municipalities agree are a single destination to the traveling public. So they work together to really promote the area as one destination. They don't have to be contiguous. So we could have a tourism zone made up of the city of Oconto and the city of Gillette. You don't have to have everything in the and I hit the wrong button. Here we go. So the benefits of a tourism zone, you're able to leverage each other's funding, right? So the more money you put in the pot, then you can then go get out more tourism-related grants. and amplify your promotion that way, right? So the more managers you have, the more grants you get. It brings the communities together to develop new tourism assets. So when we're looking at what would appeal to tourism in the area, we can better plan for that to complement the existing things that are here, not compete with the existing things and detract from tourism, right? We don't want to take people away from the fishing tournament and have them go, right? We want to bring them back for another weekend. So how do we get those people who attend the fishing tournament to come back to an event at Dirt City, or in the wintertime go up to Lakewood and cross-country ski, right? How do we get an and instead of an or? So you're probably wondering, how is this thing funded? And the mayor alluded to that. Tourism zones are funded by a room tax. State statutes allow cities, villages, and towns to assess up to an 8% room tax. In other areas, you can go up to 10%. You have to have a certain population, and an expo center, you don't have those things. So the limit for this area is 8%. It applies to rooms and lodging for transients by hotel keepers, motels, lodging marketplaces, and short-term rentals. Those lodging marketplaces are like Expedia and Kayak and those online tools that you kind of bundle a vacation. It does not apply to hospitals, nursing homes, or religious and charitable housing, dormitories, things of that nature. But the state statute does require that of that room tax that's collected, at least 70% has to go into tourism promotion or tourism development. And the other remaining 30%, the municipality can use for whatever purpose it sees fit, right? There's really no restrictions on that 30%. Tourism zones are governed in a couple ways. First would be through a room tax commission. So a room tax commission needs to have at least 2 municipalities in it. It would have representation from each municipality, and they basically they oversee the collection of the room tax, and then they file an annual report. They meet quarterly. The room tax is collected quarterly, so after those quarterly reports come in, they review those, make sure that if a certain short-term rental or something of that nature doesn't pay, then they go out and knock on the door and remind them. But they also would contract with a tourism entity. And a tourism entity in state statute is a nonprofit organization that spends at least 51% of their revenues on tourism promotion and development. They provide destination marketing services and staff to carry out the needs of the purpose of the room tax. OCEDC is the only destination marketing or tourism entity in the county. And they can do that for a tourism zone, or they can do it for an individual municipality. So my proposal, which is a big, bold proposal that I hope you would consider, is that we create a tourism zone to properly fund our tourism in this area so that we are better compete with our neighboring communities, and then bring more funds into this community. So I'm proposing that each municipality adopt a 6% room tax. They appoint members to the room tax commission, and that commission would then contract with OCEDC to provide those services. And this is a proposal. Proposals are starting, right? All these things are up for conversation. As a tourism entity, OCEDC will provide staff and services for the promotion of and development of tourism. We'll work with the hotels, motels, and short-term rentals to collect that tax. So that won't be an extra burden on city staff that would have to track down those funds. We'll market Oconto County as a single destination, and then we'll work with businesses and local governments to create those assets that bring people back to it, right? We can have them here one time, but we really need to add more things or improve existing features so that we get them to come back over and over and over again. So my proposal is for the funding that would come into OCEDC is that half would go to staffing and promotion. The other half would be put into a bank account that we would then, in the future, administer a grant for tangible tourism zone related assets. Only municipalities that participate in the tourism zone by assessing that room tax would be allowed to, or would be eligible for the grant program. The grant program would be made up of subject matter experts in real estate, finance, construction, grant writing, just so that we know that the grant proposals that are coming in are viable, right? We don't want to fund something that isn't going to happen. We would not open the grant program until at least $500,000 was in the account, and we would lend out more than 10% of the funds in our account. Just to make sure that we have that sustainable for a long time, because the taxes, as you know, they go up and down. We want to kind of flatten that out so that we have a consistent amount that we can then do more with. And then the maximum award that we would get would be 30% of the total project cost. We want to invest, but we don't want to be the investor, right? We want multiple investors. So moving forward, to go forward with this process, it's really three things that have to happen. They can be done simultaneously, or they can be done in phases. The first would be to enact a room tax ordinance, and that's just the same ordinance procedures that you use. With one added caveat is that you have to notify the Department of Revenue that you're assessing the room tax. Then you would approve or sign an agreement joining or creating, depending on where we're at with other municipalities, a O'Connell County Room Tax Commission. That tax commission would then sign an agreement with OCEDC to provide those tourism entity services. And this is, okay, so there's caveats to this. So this is some numbers that we put together, a model we generated back in the summer, June, July timeframe. So short-term rentals are constantly changing. We're getting new ones coming on board. Their rates are changing, fluctuating quite a bit. This is a very conservative look at what it could be for the city of Oconto. So it's the bolded line there. It's based off a 6% room tax, 40% occupancy rental or rate for hotel motels, and a 55% occupancy rate for short-term rentals. When I look at the data, short-term rentals are really rented out probably 70 or 75%, but I wanted to be conservative in our estimates because I didn't want to overpromise and underdeliver. And you guys come back to me and say, what the heck? So as you can see, the total revenue that would be brought in for the city of Oconto is just under $66,000. 20 of that would be state, that's at 30% that would remain with municipality, and then 46% or 46,000 would go to the tourism entity for promotion to bring more people in to drive up that number for the next year. The last thing that I'll say about this, and then answer any of your questions, is every time we bring somebody into the community as a visitor, it's great, right? We want more and more people to come, but they do use their services. They use the police and fire protection like everybody else does. They drive on your roads, they use your parks, they fill your garbage and recycling. They don't pay for it. Your residents are paying, they're subsidizing travelers paying this. This plan helps you pay for that and take that off the burden of your property taxpayers. For the cost of a Starbucks a day, right? So kind of lodge is about $90, and 6%, that's $6-7 a day that they can help fund these services that they're using. So that's kind of my proposal, and I'd love to hear what you think. I'd love to answer any of your questions.
I got a question for you. It says in charge 8%. What do our surrounding counties, what percent are they charging?
So in Oconto County, there's only 2 municipalities that have. Gill's at 6%,
No, I'm
and
talking about like Brown County.
Brown County's at, well, it's by municipality. It can't be done at a county level. It's,
No, what
but
rates are they charging?
municipalities in Brown County are at 10%. Marinette, the city of Marinette is at 8. Antidote is at 6. Gillin is at 6. Riverview is at 4. I think Wasaki has one. I think it's at 4%. So they vary all over the place. Just to give you an idea of what the city of Marinette has 8%. In 2021, they took in $483,000 in new tax, which was $145,000 that the city got to use on whatever they want. So it's a significant, it can be a significant amount.
Well, then why are you charging me? Scott,
Why
why would you propose eight instead of six?
am I not proposing 8? I thought 6 was, a good place to start. Again, proposal, right? Not within the law or anything like that. It's just a starting point. I thought it might work out a little bit better with some who are concerned about what that would do to the hotels, but quite honestly, we can use the funds to then promote the hotel and hotels and short-term rentals even more, and bring more people to the area, so it only increases business. It was a compromise.
Just a question.
Yep,
That's right.
absolutely. Sir,
Are you down now to one member for the 5 municipalities, the 5 that you had the original one with Malton, Lakewood, Riverview, Gillette, Pocahontas?
oh,
You used to have here where it says that the County tax crucial shall consist of 3 members from each municipality. For your collections exceed 1 million, 2 members, the collection exceed 300, but are not more than one member and less than 300,000, plus there would be 2 members.
that's a working draft.
Well, I'm-
That, so we haven't
I just
finalized.
wondered, because this is what your first draft, how this was going to be run. Now it's just one member, and the commission is going to make a choice of 2 more members as your original proposal was.
So we still have to work out those agreements with the other municipalities. That is a sample draft that is not for you guys to vote on, or that language, as of right now, will completely come out and will be, the city
Well, that's what I'm asking.
starting.
Is it going to be just one for the 5, and then the 5 basically municipalities are going to split it 30%? Or is each?
No, each municipality gets
Gets their
30%, right? So
That's
this number
what I'm wondering.
Right here
It just says
is
30%.
just for,
That's what I'm
just-
wondering,
yep.
because on the original, or the proposal, or the draft, it was different.
so how the law works, the Green Tax Commission would, the dollars come into the municipality funnels it up to the 70% to the Room Tax Commission. It doesn't, that 30% stays with the municipality, it doesn't go anywhere else. Yeah, sorry, I misunderstood you.
Name can, for example, can, Gillette be at 6% and Daily be at 8%?
Yes, we would have to set up 2 room tax commissions, because the room tax commission has to be at the same percentage, but they can still be in the same tourism zone.
Okay.
So we would have one room tax commission meeting and then go into the next, and then do the tourism zone conversation with it all. But yes, that's definitely.
Additional question?
Just an unrelated thing, can you start the YouTube channel, please? It's on, okay, I was being told that it's not on, is there any way you can check it?
Hold on a minute. Hopefully I didn't turn it off.
It wouldn't have been your fault.
Okay.
I didn't know if we could run both at the same time or not, but. Oh, where's my pulse here?
Looks like it's good.
It's done. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you, and I wish you all a Merry Christmas. And I can say that here. Okay, I can?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're not. Just on, the next video. Approve that? Yeah. Is there any objections to that? we're gonna put this item on the next agenda. Okay, thank you, Jamie. 6B, City of O'Connell rumors and false claims. I didn't post it by the council.
There was a lot of controversy about me putting this on the council agenda. The nature of social media is gossiping rumors, that's social media. We're not gonna waste the city staff or the city council's time dealing with foolish rumors. And we're not bringing social media into the council chamber. That's, I want to leave that here. With that being said, I strongly felt in this instant, in the name of transparency and an opportunity to educate, kind of educate about public records request and open records request. All of this information is available to the public. Anyone can make an open records request. Under Wisconsin's public records law, you have the right to inspect almost all city records. There's a charge for 25 cents per page for copies, and if it's mailed, you get charged for actual postage costs. But with that in mind, keep in mind that agendas, minutes can be found on the city's website. The two most recent budget and financial statements are also on the website, and the recordings of the meetings are on YouTube. So, with that being said, I'll address the four comments that Dale brought to the last meeting. The first one was there are many accounts that were combined with the general fund with no records kept. That is false. There was one account that was dissolved and transferred into the general fund, being the revolving loan fund. There was a revolving loan fund program that was organized through the state in the 90s. The program ended and those funds were federalized in 2017 or 2018, at which point the city was able to use those funds if they saw appropriate. The city auditor have auditors that come in annually. So of course we have records on that, and you can see clearly that transfer on the 2021 financial statements. Many departments are missing funds. False. That's not true. Missing implies that it's unknown. We know where these funds are. The department's capital accounts, if that's what you're referring to, were wiped to zero, with the exception of restricted monies like donations or state grants. Capital accounts are kind of used like savings accounts for the department. The department has traded bills, the balances for large repairs, new purchases, any emergency or surprise expenses. For many years, the departments were allowed to carry over more money from year to year that was actually available. That's why we took them away. The money was not available. Accounts were wiped to zero, and in the future, only available and appropriate funds will be allowed to carry over. Including COVID relief funds. False. COVID relief funds are regulated by the federal government. We have to report them to the federal government. So every expense that we use that money on is tracked, every receipt is accounted for, and it is reported to the government. One department that operates under strict DNR guidelines has funds that went into general fund. False. I'm sure you guys are all sick of me talking about harbor funds stay in the harbor. We've talked about it a million times. And if you look on the 2021 financial statements, you can see that fund balance is in the harbor fund, not the general fund. And the last one, probably the most ridiculous one, missing retirement funds. False. The city pays retirement funds to the Wisconsin retirement system at a rate that's set by WRS, and WRS annually audits these funds. It would be impossible for them to be missing. And that's all.
Bobby?
First, thanks for doing. Second, if you have a problem on social media or rumors, why don't you come to your representative at the city council and say, nothing else, we can get the answer for you. I'm always available. If I'm walking around, I have to talk to you, or somebody can get hold of me, and I'll find the answer, because all our department heads, I have a question. They're pretty good on answering anything I ask. So instead of believing everything you see on social media or rumors, let's just stop that, because there's going to be about 6% of the people in the city of O'Connell who aren't going to like anything that we do, the city government, period. And there's going to be rumors. I just don't like them. I don't live by them. You know, I live by I just, the rule I have is that you're either part of the solution or part of the problem. I think most people want to be part of the solution. That's all I'm trying to say.
Do we have any other correspondence on rumors?
I have other correspondence. The recycling fees that were added to the real estate tax bill, there was an error, around 30 apartment and duplexes. They got an extra $40 charge. They got 2 line items for their actual units and then an extra $40 charge that has come to our attention. So I went through all the lists and found all those ones that got charged extra. So I'm going to be contacting them and crediting those accounts. And then I have an update on the lottery and gaming credit and the first dollar credit, just to tell you a little bit what that is about. So the lottery and gaming credit and the first dollar credit are direct property tax relief from the state. So the lottery credit is calculated based on the daily revenues generated from the Wisconsin lottery that is in bingo. So based on those available funds and the estimated number of qualifying properties, that's how that credit is determined. And then the first dollar credit, every taxable person with real property improvement gets that credit. And that's just calculated on what the state allowed to the county, and then they calculate it based on how many all home prices there.
Any questions, comments, concerns? Okay, moving on. Item number 7, public input. Do you have any public input? Vicki?
Actually time myself.
I'm gonna allow 5 minutes.
I'm going to time myself. Victoria Boston, 224 3rd Street. Regarding the cannon, I'm against it being moved, concerned with the fact it's 114 years old and it's an historic item. I don't believe it will survive the move in one piece as it is extremely rusted in its core. I'm sure this will be decided to do tonight, and I already talked to Carl, I'm hoping professional movers will be enlisted, that nothing happens to it. This is the last time I'm going to be speaking on the launching fee raises. I hope everyone has read the comments regarding the raises on the city Facebook, speaking of social media. This is only the beginning. You cannot make people do anything. Customers must be treated with respect. You can't gouge them. I hope you have the courage to turn this around before it's too late. This will have a devastating impact on our local businesses and on O'Connell, period. I have spoken to business people from here to Green Bay to Sturgeon Bay. No one can believe you are raising them so much at once. I ran for mayor in 2012 to work on making things better. O'Connell was dying. Streets were strewn with garbage, rummage sale signs on every pole, empty homes for sale. As a former experienced mayor who worked on many O'Connell successes, I would have hoped more relevance would have been shown to the concerns I have. Instead, at the October 11th meeting, when you as a council voted to raise these prices, you chose Mr. Panetti's demands, and I wasn't even allowed to respond to the untruths. And that, Mr. Panetti, is why O'Connell can never achieve its full potential. For every one person, as myself, who works their entire life for O'Connell's successes, there are 5 of you who fight the person every step of the way or work toward removing the successes if it happens. Your letters that you presented to the council on October 11th, which encouraged the launching raises, were written by your neighbors on the shore. Both people who are definitely not in the same financial bracket as the average person who buys a seasonal launching pass. Regarding the letter from financial advisor Jeff Belangi, I and other council people worked in the 90s to remove him as financial advisor because he did not have O'Connell's best interests in mind. And then after that, he actually tried to push O'Connell into a financial backing of building the hospital. I do not respect his opinion, and he said so to me the night of that meeting. We do not agree at all. October 11th, Mr. Panetti, you kept repeating that I said the article in Great Lakes Boating Magazine brought the fishermen here, which I never said. I never said at any point at the time. And then you continue to dispel the relevance of the article's impact for O'Connell. This magazine is a boating magazine, period. If you would have bothered to check that magazine in particular, there were 17 articles related to fishing. So it's not just recreational. Because of your negative attitude, I myself did some research and I found a mayor's message, May 14th, 2014, which spoke of receiving complimentary copies of the magazine, so it was already sent to subscribers and posted online. In that same article was opening fishing weekend here in O'Connell, with around 200 boats lined up all the way to County S, and the local fishermen commenting. This was way more than any fishing tournament was ever held. This was the first time this occurred, and it has occurred ever since. So yes, Mr. Panetti, the article did bring them here. $8,000 it brought in, from $38,000 to $46,000 that year in revenue out at that harbor. And now you're looking at over $80,000 in revenue. More important, it brought attention to O'Connell, period. In the years since, O'Connell has changed immensely. Homes are being bought as soon as they hit the market. Do you want to chance that these launching raises will negatively impact O'Connell, especially our local businesses? Is anyone thinking about them? To finish this up, and then I'll be out.
Nikki, 5 minutes are up. Thank you for your input.
Yes,
Okay, do we have any additional public input?
I just had one quick question about the Department of Sanitation item that's on the agenda. I just still feel like I didn't have a full understanding of it. So I just wanted to know if there's any way that you guys could maybe open the floor for discussion just for a couple seconds, if, I don't know, if you're allowed to do that, to see if you can help answer some questions that I might have in regards to that. If not, no big deal. I'd just like to know who the sponsor of that was. That's all. Thank you.
Eric, why don't you state your name?
Say it again.
Yeah, go ahead. You're
Oh,
up.
yeah. Well, I just wanted to know what it was, if you guys could speak back to me. It's Garrett Soul, 712 McDonald Street, but I don't have questions until I know what more about it, because on the agenda, it just says approve city ordinance for the Department of Sanitation, but I don't know what it is because I don't have the ordinance to see what it is. I heard it was something about dumpsters, but it's hard for me to know what that is. And I wanted to know more about it before you guys voted, if possible, just out of curiosity. And I wanted to know who the sponsor was, which council member.
It came from Public Works.
Okay, that's fine, but doesn't a council member have to sponsor an agenda item and an ordinance?
Whoever makes the motion.
Okay,
But it came from Public Works. We talked about that it applied to multifamily dwellings.
Into the public, but Jeremy's the one that actually brought it up, because there's a lot of businesses that, don't have the dumpsters in cages, so it's unsightly, I guess. And there was an ordinance for that years ago, and recently, I guess, I'm not gonna let you go or anybody. It wasn't a good, attended to, but I checked out and there was odds around and he just wanted to make sure that people knew that they have to be okay.
And it's with regard to multifamily dwellings,
Can you
you have
read
the
the
refuse and recycling.
Is there any way you can read the full ordinance, or if I can see it, just the way that it's written? If you could read it. Yeah, I didn't see it on there, thank you. And was there a problem that sparked it, just out of curiosity, or we just, is there?
Just for a clarification in the ordinance, because it provided that they needed to have that on recycling materials, but we wanted to clarify that it was also required for garbage. So that's why it was brought
So
up.
garbage refuse, is there a specific like apartment complex or something that was a problem?
Jeremy's not here, I don't know.
Okay.
The apartments have their own garbage facilities.
That they have to have.
It just seems like if there's not a problem, per se, why implement a new ordinance if there's not a problem? Because I own a multifamily dwelling with a dumpster, it just feels like it might just be specific to my property, I'm not sure. So,
No, it's not, because I even brought up the cat now, because they're not in cages and stuff, and he said, well, I'll bring that up to the park director, because them have to be in cages too. So it's not that, they're just picking on certain people, it's gonna be, everybody, even the city's gonna have to do it.
okay, so at Holtwood, they're gonna have fences around all their dumpsters?
Pardon?
Holtwood's gonna have them, okay, all right. Thank you.
Bobby?
I think most of these are clarifications, because if you look at our ordinances, some of them are so outdated, and you go through them, there's too much gray area. So when we get a chance to go through the ordinances, we try to clarify more, and take out some of the old gray stuff, you know, the gray matter, that's all we do.
Okay, do we have any additional public input? No?
Neil Thompson, 106 Robin Lane. Two things. Number one, thank you, Brittany, for clarifying and answering questions. It's appreciated, and I think other citizens will appreciate that as well. But none of that was gathered off of social media. I'm not really on social media. It was all in-person conversations, digital records. Item number two, little story about treating people fairly and lost opportunities. So most of you have no idea what I do for a living. Well, 15 years ago, I got hired by a manufacturer over towards central Wisconsin. And my first year with the company, being the boss, we sold about $3.5 million in product. Then the recession hit, things went down. A couple of years later, we started to bring the business back up. We hired new salespeople, built the business up. Last year, we did 22 million in sales. So we decided it was time to expand to a new facility. A couple of factors we looked at were population and highway access. So guess what? We're currently in the initial list. But as we progressed, my boss took a keen interest in what was happening with the barn letting vendor. And he realized that the city of O'Connell has no interest in enforcing their own ordinances and laws. And since he believes in taking care of his employees and treating them well, he decided he didn't want to deal with that. And therefore, we removed O'Connell from the list. Now, there's no guarantees you would have won that business, but because of how I was treated and the other neighbors on Robin Lane were treated, you missed the opportunity. Okay? You consistently ignored facts and failed to enforce our existing laws and ordinances. So congratulations. If you're happy, because rather than a $22 million, well, hang on, that was last year's numbers. We hit 40 million in sales this year. So rather than an opportunity to court a $40 million manufacturing company, get yourself a circus tent and some porta potties. And that business provides probably almost zero extra tax revenue to the city. In fact, it's probably taking money out of pockets of some of the local businesses. And here's why. Because some of that catering comes from out of town. And some of those people will shop in the Green Bay area for their alcohol rather than buy it locally. So what could the city have done with that extra tax revenue? Every department in the city could have benefited, as well as every tax-paying citizen. So the moral of the story today, it's pretty simple. Treat everyone fairly. Actually listen to what they're saying and make good legal decisions. And don't be doing favors for your friends that are going to adversely affect entire neighborhoods. Because you never know what opportunities an individual can bring to the city. If you don't believe my story, give the city of Shawano a call. Ask them who just moved in. Ask them how many people we've employed there so far. And ask them if they're glad we're there. Thank you.
Yeah, what's the name of your business again?
You can look that up.
Brittany, have you received a inquiry from Dale's employer? You're going to receive it?
No.
Okay, moving on.
Um.
Public input. Riley?
Hi, I'm Riley Soul, 1240 McDonald Street at the Barn venue. I wanted to say thank you guys for all your support. Thanks to the community for all your support. It's been palpable through this whole process. It's been going on for a very long time. We've done everything that we possibly could to make it work. As far as the businesses suffering, I've gotten to know Jack Carmen from the Brothers 3. He's came to these meetings and spoke on our behalf. He's willing and able to come speak again. We sell 20, 30 pizzas at a shot to the Brothers 3 on each of these events that we have. The same goes for Debbie Carvello. She's come to these meetings and spoke on our behalf as well. She's catered weddings. We've booked 20 plus campsites per wedding. We booked more hotel rooms and Airbnbs. Unfortunately, we haven't had enough weddings. There's been a lot of doubt cast on all this. Our bookings have been quite slow. There's a lot of doubt, so people don't necessarily want to have their wedding, it potentially be canceled because it didn't work out. It's a tragedy. Dozens of more businesses suffer than there are homes in the Robin Lane neighborhood. I felt the support from everywhere, including people who live on Robin Lane or have lived on Robin Lane. My next door neighbor is a supporter on both sides. I feel support from every which way in this process, and I thank everyone for that. We're still not through all of it. We're still working on it. In fact, there's an agenda item tonight involving updating the 20-year comprehensive plan. In the past, the council approved unanimously outdoor venue and indoor barn venue so that any money to fix the interior of the barn. So I know in advance to spend money on making indoor venues happen. I need to get that final approval on the conditional use permit for that. The council and the subcommittees have approved it every single step of the way. They added 8 and 9 to the list back in July. It didn't get done properly, so they went and redid it again in August. I've had a meeting scheduled for the Plan Commission to see my conditional use permit. That got canceled. 2 months later, it was scheduled again. It got canceled. I am begging and pleading that we get a Plan Commission meeting to view my conditional use permit, which I submitted 3 times. We've cashed my check 2 times. I insist we get the Plan Commission to schedule a meeting to view my 3rd conditional use permit and get it to a vote without canceling these meetings. That being said, the same has happened for the 20-year comprehensive plan, which is a beautiful document that I'd love to help initiate people looking at and updating as needed. Updates are needed to it. That's the item for tonight, is to update the 20-year plan for my parcels. That being said, that was done back in July and didn't get done correctly and is in the process of being redone again. The Plan Commission approved it again last week, and council is here to possibly vote on it again tonight, but I beg this one thing that you consider. The Dale came to the committee of the whole meeting last week and said, hey guys, that's not how you update the 20-year comprehensive plan. You can't single out parcels like that. And actually, he may be right about this. So I just ask that you consider tabling this tonight. We can get more information on it. Please, if you can take a little more time to figure out this 20-year plan. I personally don't feel that that's how it's done or that it's necessary. So I ask that you table that tonight and get my conditional use permit before the planning commission and get it to a vote. Please, please. Thank you.
I just want to clarify that it was not done incorrectly. I called the state of Wisconsin Department of Administration to clarify that because it was brought up that perhaps it was, perhaps it wasn't. I called and clarified with them, but we were not in a lawsuit. This would be done, but because we're covering every single box to the best extent. The Department of Administration said we did not need to do that. But is there harm in doing it? There absolutely is not.
We've discussed this with the state, we've discussed it with legal counsel from our insurance company, and we've done their directive. I see no reason at this point for us not to proceed.
What's the harm in tabling it? You've tabled a lot of my other issues in the past when I didn't want you to, and this one time I didn't want you to. So please.
This needs to be finished before we move on.
Does it? I'm not sure that it does.
Okay, is there any additional public input?
Sorry, I didn't use my full time, but just now that I had a chance to look at this closer, I know it seems not important, but it is to me. Just the way that it's written with singling out multifamily dwellings, it doesn't actually, it wouldn't apply to Holtwood or other places in the city. So I would like to, see if also table this one because it's not like just a thought, just because I think it needs a little bit more time and it doesn't seem right. It seems like it is a little bit specific and it wouldn't apply to Holtwood, it wouldn't apply to other areas, other businesses. But just a thought. It's not like it's a rush on this, it's just cleaning up ordinances. So
the other businesses, other commercial situations, all of those are already covered in the ordinance with multi-family. So
it wouldn't apply.
Other things that you're talking about.
It wouldn't apply to Holtwood then?
What?
It would not apply to Holtwood Camp?
The ordinance already applies.
Why do they not have fences? You go through Winter Wonderland right now, there's no fences up there.
There's other businesses that aren't enforced yet either. All of this was a process that Joe was going through.
Okay, well, I would like to see it be clarified a little better, just
If you put a fence around the whole dumpster, how many people get their garbage
Right.
into the dumpster?
Right.
Because then you gotta unlock and lock all of it, and you gotta have someone there to fence it. I believe that's why you don't have the fences on both of them, because when people bring their garbage. You have them for around the city, because restaurants and everything, because everywhere we're gonna go in there, where if you have the whole, you have to go for garbage somewhere. I mean, what are you gonna do, give each camper a key?
I don't think you're going to lock them.
I don't know if they're locked or
They don't
not,
lock
but
them.
if you don't, if you don't, because what happens is people come and start dumping.
Everybody got that issue.
Yeah, so
You
it's,
still gotta be able to get your garbage into a dumpster.
You do it at the golf course, you do it on.
That's where it is.
it's It seems like it needs to be looked into a little bit more clearly and clarified, because it seems like it's only applying to certain scenarios and not others. Like, it doesn't apply to Holtwood because it doesn't make sense for them, but why does it one? I just would like to see it looked at a little bit closer before rushing it through if it's just cleaning up ordinances.
Jeannie? Do you have a comment?
My question was, I don't believe they're not, and I think the purpose of it is sitting out there doing, you wouldn't walk down the street, whatever. So in order to make the city look as best as possible, the Holtwood for sure should have it as well. Of all places, it should have a fence around the park. You open it up, you step in, and you close it, just like a good close maker or whatever. It should.
So can we add it?
Yeah, it should have that. So, I don't know that anybody's being singled out. We're just trying to clean this thing up.
Steve? I remember when I remodeled Riverside restaurant years ago, and the city definitely made him put a thing around his dumpster too. To me, if I'm a landowner, homeowner, or whatever, you know what, I wanna put something around that anyway, so every Tom, Dick, and Harry can't come throw stuff in my dumpster. To me, it makes sense that just everybody who has a dumpster should just put a fence around and be done with it. I mean, it shouldn't be a big topic and a big discussion, and we should get in a big debate about it. It should be across the board. Whether it's commercial, residential, or whatever the case may be, if it's a multifamily, whatever. Let's just get fences around them, just for their own personal, so people ain't throwing stuff in their dumpster. We had a dumpster out at our sportsman's club this year for deer carcasses. Was there garbage in there? Yeah, somebody threw garbage in there. Guess what? Maybe if we had a fence around it, that would happen. I don't know, but to me, it's just, if you're gonna do it to one, do it to everybody, be done with it, and enforce it, and be done with it.
I agree, so it should apply to all. Yes, I agree then.
So,
Mike, got a comment.
Yeah, that's commercial ordinance. You had to have a fence around it if you threw food into it. If it was just recyclables and not food, you do not have to have a fence around it. It was to keep the critters out mostly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So is this voiding that
That's,
then?
you had to have, if you threw food, that's why the restaurants all have the dumpsters around it, because they throw their food, the waste is in there.
So would this void that and make that not true anymore? So it would just remain, everything remains the same. No
At
food,
the
no
Board of
fence.
Public Works meeting, it was brought up that just recycle, then it didn't need to have a caging on it. But anything else, it has to have a caging on it, and that applies to everything. So if you can prove that you don't put no food or stuff like that in there, I guess you don't need it.
Yeah, and that's how it was before, that's what Joe said.
in the ordinance already, it's
It
stated
is
that.
in the ordinance.
It is, well then.
Right, yeah, because, I don't have a fence around mine, because that's what Joe said, no food, no fence, whatever, no problem. But now it seems like, they want multifamily to have a fence on the side.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah.
Okay, any additional public input? Item number 8, approval of consent agenda. A, accounts payable for the month of November 2022 in the amount of $174,968.37. Payroll for the month of November 2022 in the amount of $155,391.83. And other financial reports as presented. Item B, approval of original alcohol beverage retail license application, Fire and Water LLC, 805 Brazos Avenue, and approval of agent Marquis Burdelli. Item C, approval of resolution regarding revisions to the City of O'Connell Comprehensive Plan and Land Use Map and the City of O'Connell Land Use Zoning Map. What's that?
What for discussion?
Item D, approval of an ordinance regarding addition to the health and sanitary ordinance, in the municipal code of ordinances for the city of Oconto. We need a motion.
Motion to approve. With acceptance.
Okay. Got a second? Ronnie?
Chris Palmer.
Aye.
Steve Stock. John Wickoff. Betsy Day. Gene Phillips. Bob Craft.
Okay, item number C, approval of a resolution regarding revisions to the City of Oconto Comprehensive Plan and Land Use Map and City of Oconto Land Use Zoning Map. Discussion? John?
My question does this have to be approved before you can go for a conditional use? So it has to be done before we can,
It has to be one done one way.
Can we put that in writing?
yeah, we don't.
I don't know that that's true. I'd like to get that in writing before the council might be misled on something like that. If
Well,
that's-
I
if that's
I
not the
told
case.
you that it doesn't necessarily,
It doesn't,
the Department of Administration said it does not because of the nature of it. What they told me was if the surrounding zoning is matching what this zoning would be, we do not have to do the public hearing. If it was agricultural and we tried to stick something in the middle that was not similar spot zoning, then we would have to amend the comprehensive plan. So they told us we did not, but because we are in the lawsuit, it's important to cover every single base above and beyond.
So we should approve this.
Legal counsel has advised us, not Frank, our legal counsel, through this lawsuit, has advised us to pass it. If you want to hear that from her, we can table it and have closed session next time, it's up to you guys.
Jeannie?
I don't think it's necessary to bring this up on the calendar. We have, done everything in our power to make sure this gets done correctly. Leave it above and beyond what we need to do. I don't think it's fair for, and I know that you're probably nervous about making this happen because it feels like this is this big thing we have get this going, and if something goes wrong with it, one more thing goes wrong with it, there goes next year too. We've lost most of last year for all of, for all practical purposes. I believe, that this is the right thing to do, that you can get going so you can make the business work. I don't feel it's really worthwhile to wait for any reason.
Is there a waiting period then for them to do a conditional use?
Letters need to be mailed out, it needs to be published in the newspaper. And then it will go to the commission with the public hearing.
I thought you want your company.
No,
That
conditional-
only goes to planning
Only.
commission, it does not come to council.
So we were looking potentially.
So if we approve this, then it goes through the conditional use permit, through the planning commission. And then what, comes back to us again?
Nope.
Then it's done?
Then it's done. Yeah, you don't approve the conditional use permit.
So our approval will be tonight, and then that will be it for us as a council.
This is just on comprehensive.
And my other question, why don't you want that to go through?
I don't believe it's necessary. I've never seen anywhere written that it absolutely needs to happen, and I contest that number 8 and number 9 are added to the list of conditional uses for R2, so I should have every right to be able to apply for that
20-year plan or not, you can do that, fix that after, fix that later. There is no time urgency. I've waited for almost 2 years already. I can wait more months if we need to do it at a later time. In my heart, do not feel this is a necessary step. And we can get that to the plan commission without that 20-year plan, where I want to see that in writing somewhere and not just verbalized. I don't believe that that is a truthful thing, and I'm not sure that that's how the 20-year plan gets updated. It's singling out my 2 parcels. The 20-year comprehensive plan has never been updated ever before. I'm the first one ever to get an update in the 20-year plan, and it's singling out my 2 parcels.
I'll say 2 things on that. You're absolutely correct, Brian. You are correct in saying that. But we are in a lawsuit, and if our legal counsel tells us to do it, we're gonna do it. We have to protect the city. And you're right, this is the first time the comprehensive plan is being amended, and it should have been already. So we are looking at amending it more. I mean, well, it needs to be done, to be honest, but
I agree with Brittany in that that's a 20-year comprehensive plan, which is now 15, going on 16 years old. That's one reason why we contacted Bay Lane's planning about it's probably time to start the process of amending and updating. When you look at that 20-year comprehensive plan, it didn't even include the 4-lane interstate. It's not going through Ocala. So, I mean, there's obviously updates.
I don't know if legally you can single out parcels in the 20-year plan, though. It's a general guide, it's not a specific thing like that, and that's the issue where I want clarification on my specific parcels are listed by name, and I'm not sure that's how it's done. So that's my concern on that. If that came from legal counsel, I really would like for you, at least you guys, to be able to have seen that in writing from the legal counsel, that they should be specifically done in that manner, parcel by parcel.
John? I think if our legal counsel says that this is a step that we have to go, I think we have no path to go. I think we have to follow what our legal guys say.
But did they say it needed to be done tonight?
I mean, no. If you guys want to table it, there's no problem.
Why would we take, I guess I don't understand why would we take.
To clarify my concerns about it?
I don't think there is any concern about it.
Well, I'd like an example of another municipality that's singled out specific parcels for something similar like that. Or even where it says that that must be done.
Well, number one, this is a discussion. Number two, I don't know why this is coming up tonight when this is already from the planning commission and it's been the committee as a whole, and now
for approval. Were you at the planning commission when this
Yeah.
was?
I was.
And what did you feel then?
I was a little frustrated that it was the second time that has been redone, and also the same story for my number 8 and number 9 getting at. The list was done multiple times, and I want this to move through, I do, but I can be patient with it. I'm not sure that it needs to be done right now because Dale, he was at the committee of the whole meeting and he expressed concerns that he felt that that wasn't legal. We got a recording from that meeting. I wasn't there to hear that, but what Dale had said at the committee of the whole meeting to you guys was that that isn't how you update the 20-year comprehensive plan. He may be right about that. I tend to agree with him.
I would be happy to look into it further.
we can talk to Ashley if that's what we want to do.
Or the end of the state. I'm happy to give them a help now.
I would like you also to get in writing what is the process to update the minutes.
I have that, and I have, yep, I can
And
share
that's
it.
that's what we're doing, correct?
I can email that out to everyone.
Because that's the thing that, we're not seeing that in writing right now, and I think that's what's making writing nervous, and when people can't see what we're following. I mean, the land use map is what we're talking about, the maps are outdated for everything, not just you, the reason Rony did it is because of the legal. But it doesn't mean that we're not going to take care of other parcels that need to be updated as well. Because it's
There have been other,
necessary.
there have been other rezones.
You might be
and
the
everything
first, you
since
might be
mine
the
happened.
icebreaker, you might be the one that breaks through this barrier of old crap being carried over and over and over. It needs to be updated, and that's why I'm in favor of this to be done, but I don't want you to lose more sleep.
And we will say it is winter, so now's the time to table it if we want to table it. He's not holding any events in the winter.
Make a motion to table it, it affects him the most of anybody,
Yeah.
so I would make a motion to table it.
You know, get information and you can get it out to us, and then we can be sure that it's supposed to.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second, is there any additional discussion? Okay, do the vote.
Butch Melbourne?
Aye.
Steve Scott?
Aye.
John Wickoff? Betsy Bates? Dean Phelps? Paul McCartney?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. Moving on, number 9, discussion, action, recommendations on the following. Recommendation from Police and Fire Commission. A 2023-2025 Fire Department Union Contract.
I apologize, I was gonna email that out to everyone, but it was a hassle getting it approved, so so Cody will extend it to us.
So I really just want to be Cody Henry, firefighter, president of the fire union. Was a one battle with the contract. Really the only two main changes are the 3-year contract compared to our current 1 year, and it's 2 years across the board. I got approved by the
2%.
2%. I'm sorry, 3-year contract, 2%. I apologize.
Per year?
2% per year. 23, 24, 25. It did get approved by the entire Police and Fire Commission last night, and that's what I'm looking forward to approval tonight with that contract.
Yeah, that's it, I thought we were going to, and again, we had highlighted in red kind of what the changes and stuff are. I can touch on the other changes, all approved by Police and Fire Commission. For 2023, it agreed, on health insurance, is 10%, 90%, which is the same that all the other employees are. They've agreed that in the subsequent years, so 2020, 2024, 2025, that it will be equal to what all the other employees pay, not to exceed 12%. We put that in there in case that's something we have to look at in the future. Going from the 10% possibly reducing that. We increased vacation time. 3 weeks will go into effect at the 6th year rather than the 8th, and 4 weeks will go into effect on the 10th year rather than the 12th. That's something that we're likely to bring forward as we want to discuss potentially across the board and to see how it goes and looking at the
Do you maybe want to run and print 2 copies and we can share them? I really don't want to table it.
I have it, but yeah, the format, here's format.
I'd like to see that table, I mean.
But we only, there's only a couple changes.
Well, still, I mean, you're asking us to, really
How much vacation time are they allowed to carry over?
maximum 1 week.
The same as.
How much vacation time are you allowed to carry over?
1 week. They're allowed to carry only 1 week over. And in my time of being the chief, there's only been 2 individuals that have any kind of carried over. That was throughout COVID time, when we were shorthanded because people being out sick with COVID. But otherwise, the guys obviously are looking to be able to spend time with their families and they use up the vacation each year. actually a sick time, is really small, yeah, really low, how much really low. So we can accrue up to 90 days of sick time, but that's 1 day per month. So we obviously, we can accrue, but once we get 90 days, we can't get no more. If the people have it at their retirement, they can only get paid out for 45. So you can accrue up to 90, but you only can ever get 45. So when they retire, they only get 45 days off. Yep.
Josh?
Also, I guess, kind of to touch upon the adjustments that were suggested for education, is it also helps to, I guess, for the longevity of our employees. At the original vacation rate, you would max out at 4 weeks of vacation after,
That's what, 5,
for 20 at 5. So now at least you're getting to build up a little bit sooner, and then you have it on that backside for a little bit of incentive to stick with your employer. Otherwise, yeah, once you hit your max, obviously I get it, there's always a max somewhere, but when some of the employees in past have got over 30+ years here, and they max out their vacation after year 20, and there's really nothing to look forward to, that's what they would use. And these contracts, I mean, besides the percentages and years, are mostly the same since right before I started in 2007.
Didn't we just do a 2% pay raise for everybody, Joe? With the police and fire and everybody?
Well, the police and fire go off a contract,
Okay.
so that's why we gave them the 2%. That was in the contract. We
Right.
gave them more.
So we already basically approved for 2%, correct?
When you approve for 2%, you're approving the non.
Gotcha.
The police were already set up on a 2% by their
Right.
contract.
Okay.
And as were the fire departments now.
Yeah.
Which?
Given the state that we're in, there's nobody actually to vote for a 3-year agreement. Financial situation, the city's in, there's nobody actually to vote for a 3-year agreement.
Cody, the absolute last thing I want to do is a 1-year agreement, because I'm on the same negotiation schedule with the police department. In my period, getting the two departments playing against one another. Well, the police department's out to this, the fire department's out to that, and I don't want that. I don't want animosity between our two agencies. We work very closely together, day in and day out. The last thing I want to do is go against them. And I don't, it's not any ill intent on your end, it's just bringing that kind of conversation, it's not something I want to do. Historically,
3 years is.
3 years is the standard. We did a 1-year contract last year due to the financial hardship of the city. And we obviously understand that. And I'm willing to work, but I think on our end, we are very adamant for the 3-year contract.
3 years isn't just the norm for the city of O'Connell, correct? It's
Right.
the norm across Wisconsin. I mean, a state union rep?
Yep, no, the Union of North Carolina is International Association of Firefighters.
Okay, so he comes in and negotiates with Frank Lee and on this contract. And how long does it take us? It's quite a long time. And that's the norm for all of the areas, not just us.
I can pull up any contract in almost any contract in Wisconsin. It's not just because that's what we want, it's kind of the standard.
I get it, but I don't know how cities are in the same financial situation that we are.
Cody, did your union request financials from the city?
Yes, they did. They performed a municipal financial analysis. I don't know how to read it. I'm not I'm not a country. I don't understand it at all. Yeah, we got Bobby?
Sometimes I think that if you sign a 1-year contract, following year, it's worse than if a 3-year contract was for a 4 year. I don't know how you feel it affects you, it's got to be different things. raised 5%. 2% for 3 years. Look, basically, when we look at it, we studied it. And we don't have that conflict every single year. The police, the fire, everyone. We've got 3 years where we know satisfied.
I will guarantee that they did not come to the table looking for two.
I
That's not the figures they brought to us. Door probably were the figures that we brought to the table, I think.
Right.
This is where both sides
Got on here, holiday pay to work, holiday, get $500 per day. It's 12 hours, 24 hours, 24 hours.
It's roughly $23 more extra. But I'm away from my family for 23 days, I just see 24 hours.
That was not increased, it was held from the last time.
This is actually the third contract that those numbers have not changed. So this would basically 7 years about those numbers.
Well, personally, I'd like to see that sometime in the week.
I would love this to be approved tonight, and any questions you would have, I'm willing to meet.
I get the question, and what do you make the contract?
Let me just add that it's nothing that was approved with that budget for this year. It's within the 2023 budget.
Remember, most of the language is the same except for health and drugs. We're gonna use the health just the difference.
I think there's a total of 9 changes. But there's 9 changes.
The only thing I'm thinking is, because we're new on this council, so this is our first time ever doing this. Approving something like this, Cody. It just got said on a lap 2 seconds ago. So you kind of got to understand our point of view too here. You know what I mean? I know you want to see it approved tonight and stuff too, and absolutely, we all want to see it approved. But, I'm new, he's new, some of these other people have been at council before, maybe they understand this a little better than we do. I think in all fairness, I think you should be open-minded to let us read this over and take a look at it and see if we have any questions for you. There might be something on here that we don't agree with, that might be benefit you. That's what I'm saying. There might be something, I think you're low on that, or you're whatever. In all fairness, I don't know, I've never done this before. Or am I wrong? We just approve it, be done with it. I don't know.
Well, the only thing that I would add, Steve, to what you're saying, and again, there are a number of you that have never seen this contract before. On the other hand, you are depending some upon the police and fire commission. You are very familiar with this contract and have dealt with this multiple times. And passed this last night too. But
I understand what you're saying. And Bob's on that commission too, right? Bob, you're on the police and fire? So what's your opinion on that? We're good to go with this? We feel as though everything is.
The way it's set up, I thought it was good. No, you might not think it's good, so then you would agree with it. I only get one vote. So if it goes around, or I approve it or not, then it was good. But I read yesterday, it seemed okay. Because the other ones, you saw what 2018 and everything before that. It's basically the same except for now, 8% across the board, and I think it was, I will read it the last time. with that.
We've had other contracts that made from 2.5.
Yeah.
Then we can put it on the next agenda. But let's move forward.
Okay. Steve, do you want to make
Well,
a motion to?
I would like-
Taxis and stuff in your side.
Steve, I agree with you. I think that we should take a look at it. I've never been involved in anything like this before, and this is kind of.
If we're not gonna do it, I mean, I'd like to take the outside draft matters and maybe not. But can I sit down with everybody in the council and we can go through this? And is there a way we can do a special meeting to get this approved by the end of the year, so we can go back January 1 of 23?
Well, that's when it starts.
That's when it starts.
Then we work on contract.
And then we've got issues like back pay and everything. The issues for you, it's not an issue for me.
Right.
So what actually are the differences between this contract and the last one?
Everything anything that's in red.
So
And some of the red is over at dates.
So we should basically focus on those ones?
If it's not right, it won't change.
There's,
Right. Can we have a meeting next week?
You can, yeah.
I'm gonna just push it till next week. No, you still got 2 days. Do the first part next week. Even toward the end, I don't care. You know, at least we give it all time to look it over. I mean, I have a hard time with things or something like this and I don't even know what I'm reading. You have to read it a little bit.
We could postpone it to next Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's still next year.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because we said it goes in effect in the end of the year. I'll make that motion.
You have a motion? Second. Butch, discussion?
Rich Mulver?
Aye.
Steve Stack?
Aye.
John Whitcock?
No,
Kathy Bates? Gene Feld? Robert Brown?
yeah.
6 o'clock work, Tuesday night, 31.
27?
I can be.
It should be, I have survey, otherwise he wouldn't answer that way.
6 o'clock Tuesday.
Gotta read back.
Is she, you gonna get us copies of this then?
Well, all we're gonna,
Yeah.
all we're.
Yeah, I'll email them up.
I think you really want to keep taking ones. Yeah. You can copy them. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, 9B, recommendation from Park and Rec Committee, recommendation to relocate the cannon from City Park to O'Connell County Veterans Memorial Plan site. We have a motion.
I made this recommendation basically because I thought the candidate needed more respect for what was given at City Park. And also did because even if we get past it, we probably have to have come to council. And if we want, I have a picture of the memorial, a good review, to it and everything. And I just thought it deserved a lot more respect at the memorial than it does at City Park.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second discussion. Bobby, thank you for your input.
Rich Mulver?
Aye.
Steve Stack?
Aye.
John Whitcock? Kathy Bates? Gene Feld? Robert Brown?
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, I do appreciate it. Mr. Mayor, can I say a word?
Sure.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to rephrase that, could I say a couple of words? No, I thank you, really, really thank you. I do not know how many of you are aware of my background, but I'm a participant in both the Korea and the Vietnam War. I'm old enough to see that we have not educated our citizenry, especially the young people, that there even was a war 50, 60 years ago. There's so many other things out there now that take their attention. So I wish Vicki was here. Maybe I don't. But there is no problem or inconsistency, whatever you want to do with the cannon being out there. It is just more appropriate in a military setting than out there where it is a toy that the kids aren't even interested in anymore because the city has put out all kinds of regular toys for them to play with. Years and years ago, yes, the cannon out there was a thing to play on. It isn't anymore, it just sits there. So we feel that by putting it over there with the tank in the project that people like this individual has been working so hard on, that it is more appropriate. They go over there for the purpose of being concerned about something military, not out there to be concerned with something they can play on. And we certainly thank you very much for the opportunity to honor all of those who've given their lives for keeping us a free country. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Okay, item number 7. Hopefully going at approximately 6:30 to continue the closed session pursuant to notice duly given and allowed by Wisconsin statute 145 for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public property for the following items.